Hi, Dr. Arvind Poswal, Dr. A's Clinic, Delhi, India. Today we will be talking about the root cause of hair loss, the two different theories of hair loss. Because once we understand the correct reason for hair loss, then only will we be able to treat that. So, the old or the traditional theory of hair loss states that everything, all over hair loss, etc., is mediated by testosterone. Testosterone gives rise to dihydrotestosterone or DHT, and somehow DHT enters the hair follicle and damages it if it is genetically predisposed, and ultimately causes miniaturization leading to hair fall. So that has led to a slew of treatments basically focused on DHT inhibitors. Now I have two logics against this theory. Based on my experience, I have been in this field since 1997, and I first did FUE or extraction of individual follicles in 1999, long before I know anyone who was doing it. And also body hair to scalp transplant and beard hair to scalp transplant. Beard hair to scalp transplant, the world's first case was done at my clinic in 2006 and it was documented. So anyway, apart from my credentials, let's get back to the topic. Now, if testosterone and DHT were responsible for hair loss solely in androgenic alopecia or male pattern alopecia, then people should have lost hair at the age of 15 to 18 years. That is the time when the body experiences peak testosterone levels. That is also the age when naturally you will have the maximum DHT also, leading to loss of the hair follicle which are genetically predisposed. However, we don't find it to be true. We find two things. One is that hair loss keeps on continuing and sometimes occur after 30 or even 35 years of age. So that is a time when the testosterone levels are actually going down, but the hair loss is progressing. Secondly, a whole lot of DHT inhibitors have been tried, and I say, based on my extensive experience, that no, they do not work consistently. Otherwise, no doctors would be bald. It is not just about the side effects. If someone were to tell me that taking finasteride is going to help each and every one of the patients, or even a good 70% of them, let alone 90%, I would be happy to claim that as the only treatment required. However, I have not found that to be true. In some cases, we get good results, but that is about it. Same thing for minoxidil. And if you ask deeper questions about the exact mechanism of action at the cellular, at the genetic level of how this hair loss is occurring, how DHT is accentuating it, and how DHT blockers are being able to help out. That is not explained, that is not known. Even with minoxidil, it is the same story that they found that it helps, but we do not know the exact reason, because till now we were dealing with the human body, doctors as well as scientists were ahead of us, but still in a more superficial manner, at the level of tissues, at the level of organs. Okay, this is a medicine for your liver, this is a medicine for your heart, or this is a medicine for your blood sugar. Now science has progressed, we have gone down, it is like zooming in into the individual cells, into the environment of those cells. That is where we are finding the exact reasons which protein binds to which other protein which blocks secretion or formation of another protein or enzyme. That is the level at which we have to now start seeing. Unfortunately, we are not looking at that level. So today I'll discuss that level. I'm not saying that the other theory, that is the epigenetic theory of hair loss, is the final word. It is a work in progress. But nevertheless, let's shift from the DHT theory of hair loss to the other theory, that is the epigenetic theory of hair loss. Now, why do I bring this? One of the thing is my continuing clinical research of almost 15 years. Now I have been tabulating, I have been asking each and every one of my patients, their relatives also, two simple questions. When did you notice your hair loss? Or when did your hair loss start? And if you have anyone in your family in the previous generation, your father, your grandfather, who also had hair loss, then at what age did they experience hair loss? So I have been receiving and tabulating, and I can share the gist of the thing. Earlier, people were losing or they started to lose hair somewhere around 25 to 35. Means they would be around 30 years of age, then they may notice some hair fall has started. In times of our grandparents, it was even beyond that. Maybe at 35, they noticed something. If someone had hair loss at 25, beginning of hair loss at 25, it was considered hair loss at very young age. But now the situation is different. Now I see patients who have significant hair loss at 18 years of age, and those who are almost a Norwood 6 or almost totally bald at 20 years, 22 years of age. So it cannot be the genetic theory or the DHT theory alone. If it were only because of our genes which cause our hair loss, then the present generation should have had their hair loss when they reached 25, 20, 30, or maybe even 35. But that is not the case. So, similarly, the only way I can explain this is that something is going wrong. What is it that is missing in the present generation, which the previous generations had? Then you come to the environment, not my environment or your environment. Of course, that is the cause of it. All the air pollution, the stress levels, the water pollution, the chemicals and the preservatives, all filled in so much in all our diet. We are getting drowned or exposed constantly to these harmful things, and we don't even mind eating them, consuming them. We treat it as something normal. Earlier, I remember we used to drink water from the tap in Delhi. That is 1985. Now we cannot. It's RO water or filtered water, otherwise we will get ill. So all those harmful things, they are going inside our body and creating a harmful atmosphere in our cells, including the cells inside the dermal hair follicle. Now, why is hair so important when this all is happening and our bodies are getting weakened by all these things at different levels? See, people are getting heart attack at a younger age. You would not have heard of people getting heart attack at 25, 28 years of age. Just 20 years ago, it was considered a very big anomaly, surprise. Now it's happening. Now you have patients with the lifestyle diseases at as little as 20 years of age. So that is one of the major culprits. Hair is our fastest growing organ. It has a very fast metabolic rate. The stem cells which are present in the hair follicles, they are continuously multiplying. So any lack of proper nutrition or exposure to toxic products in any form It may be gas, it may be liquid, it may be solid. Ultimately, when it gets inside the hair follicle at the cellular level, it will be a chemical, a protein, a molecule that will go inside, and maybe it will stop one nice gene which may be helping your hair follicle to recover itself, to stay young and healthy. And it just goes and blocks it. It's something like you have a cleaner and who is keeping everything nice and clean, and a bad man comes and just bashes him up. So what do you have? You have a hair follicle with the unhealthy atmosphere inside it. See, hair follicle has it's an entire organ. There are root sheaths within that. There is dermal papilla. There is also the connection of the sebaceous gland, the erector pili muscle, and this is, but if you see it overall, it is a organ enclosed by the root sheaths. It has its own micro environment, which requires, let's say, it requires a lot more omega acids than other cells because it is multiplying at a much faster speed. So what happens if you don't provide them all these things? Or what happens when all the bad things are happening? When all these bad things are happening, the stem cells, the environment around those stem cells in our dermal papilla, imagine that three-dimensional structure. So that is getting spoiled. There are some senile cells. Senile cells are those cells who, in maybe naturally or even in response to these pollutants, they basically weaken and they say, okay, we are old. We'll produce all sort of harmful chemicals and make the cells around us also old. We will not die. We'll just stay like that. Those are senile cells. Now the population of the senile cells, it starts increasing in the hair follicle. And the first cells to become senile are the melanocytes, the cells which give color to the hair. So many times you see whenever a person has, let's say, a viral illness or any severe illness, they notice a lot of hair fall. It's called telogen effluvium. So what happens in telogen effluvium? The stem cells of the hair follicle simply don't have the energy to keep on multiplying. They are not getting the things they need. So they just shut down. They say, we are not multiplying. And there are so many harmful senile cells around them. They are producing toxic chemicals, cytokines, harmful, and it's a harmful environment. That is what we make for them. And then those hair don't grow, and we call it telogen effluvium. Then if we give them good nutrition, everything, they recover also. But if we don't, then they don't recover. Now shift to the scenario of androgenic alopecia or male baldness. Here, when you are doing all those things are coming slowly. You are eating burgers and coke, nothing else. And slowly your body is getting deprived of those good things. You are applying harmful chemicals on top of your head, going inside your hair also to some extent. Then all those are insults you are doing to the microenvironment of your hair follicle. DHT is not going to come and harm you just like that when you are young.
The surface is protected by scales.
Keep on doing this harmful
Each scale
things,
is made of a series of flat cells piled 5 or 6 deep to form an envelope that protects the hair from damage.
Making the root sheath. Once the cell
Under
becomes
this protective
damaged,
coating, we can see a
they
rough
lose
interior.
their shape.
We have now
Imagine
reached
a wall
the heart
made of
the
these
hair.
bricks called cells, and those bricks start
The
shrinking.
long shapes placed side
So
by side
what will happen?
are
There will
made
be
up of
gaps.
keratin.
Gaps
Every
where
cell
harmful
contains
things
several
couldn't
of these
enter earlier.
keratin tubes.
Where DHT couldn't come, maybe. I'm not saying, but maybe. Many other harmful things were not able to cross the
The black
root
spot
sheath barrier.
is a pigment called melanin.
But now it is not so.
Melanin is responsible
Also,
for the color
inside
of
the hair
hair.
follicle, there are cells
small
which are
white
becoming
spots
senile,
were caused
which
when
are
the hair was prepared
creating
for
a
the
bad
microscope.
atmosphere for all those stem cells inside, dermal papilla cells inside. So they did a video recording under high magnification microscopes, and they found stem cells escaping. Now visualize this. What is happening in that tube formed by the root sheath? A bad environment. stem cells being killed by the senile cells, and then some of the stem cells escaping from there, that we don't want to stay in this toxic environment. That's what they saw in that video recording. So how will you treat it? This is the actual thing which is happening in your hair. You will have to resort to an entirely different approach. You'll have to provide them the nutrients. You'll have to correct the entire environment so that you can hold on to those hair. Maybe if your father lost that hair, his hair at 35 and you are losing your hair at 20, why not try to hold on to this hair till 30 or 35? We can always do transplants, that is no big problem. But if we don't look at the root cause of the problem, it will just keep on accentuating. You'll have more and more hair loss, and there will come a time when even hair transplant will be exhausted. We would have used all the grafts we could take from the head, from the beard, from the body, wherever. Now what then? And look carefully. When the environment of the hair follicles is becoming disturbed, don't you imagine the environment of your blood vessels, the environment of your liver, the heart also is getting bad? So I have formulated what I call the epigenetic theory of hair loss, which encourages for doctors and scientists to look further deeper into the proteins that are being formed, the DNA level, the mitochondria. Is there mitochondrial depletion when the hair are being lost? What is happening to those stem cells? How can we get them back? How can we make them more active? How can we make more stem cells differentiated into the ones which we want? That is the science which I called genetic medicine. So that is what we have. We have reached that level. We need to read about it. So I will be happy to share my experiences and whatever knowledge I have with my patients and fellow doctors. Remember, we have to find the correct cause, and after finding the correct cause, then the correct treatment, so that we can control this epidemic of hair loss. And listen to our hair when it is telling us that something is going wrong. When some young boy is saying that, okay, I had hair loss because of difference in food or water, it actually happens. Those are epigenetic events which weaken the hair follicle. We have to listen to them carefully, help them avoid those, educate them about the correct way. So please don't hesitate to contact me. I'll be glad to speak with you, and I'll be glad to share my own method of providing a good hair care process so that the hair remain for a long time. If our hair remains for a long time, we will remain healthy for a long time. Otherwise, you don't want to become a bodybuilder and a 80-year-old fit, 90-year-old fit bodybuilder but with no hair on top. We need our hair in good condition. They are the indicator of our good health. So do subscribe and like, and remember to share this video. It helps a lot when you share it with people, like-minded people who may like to know about this. Thank you.